Welcome back. Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign says it raised just over $8 million in the first 24 hours after announcing his candidacy. The Florida governor launched his bid for the White House on Wednesday over a very glitchy live stream on Twitter Spaces. While some supporters are admitting that the announcement itself was a flop, others have sought to spin the technical struggles as enthusiasm for the Florida governor. His campaign, turning the page, now focused on how to defeat Donald Trump in the Republican primary, though they haven't really started any attacks yet. Yesterday, DeSantis' strategists met with donors in Miami to lay out their vision for the next year. NBC News reports several attendees say the governor's campaign is banking on Trump being dragged down by his legal woes. Meanwhile, people who work for Governor Ron DeSantis' gubernatorial administration and not his presidential campaign have been reportedly soliciting Florida lobbyists for political contributions for DeSantis' presidential bid. That's according to NBC News, which reviewed text messages sent from 4 administration officials to those lobbyists. A number of attorneys and other lobbyists who spoke to NBC News called the move potentially illegal, at the very least, a serious breach of ethics. The governor's office did not return a request for comment, but one administration official acknowledged they were fundraising for the campaign. Let's now bring in one of the reporters on that story, NBC News senior national politics reporter, Jonathan Allen. Jonathan, great to see you again. Let's start with those text messages. How damaging could this be? There should be, right, the government ethics and law, a bright line between politics, campaigns, administrations, official government work. How do you see this playing out?
Well, let me zoom out just a little bit from that, John. As far as the legal question, we'll have to let Florida authorities, the Florida administration, perhaps look into that. The administration of Ron DeSantis, of course. But to zoom out just a little bit, this is a candidate who has come into the race saying that he's going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C. And one of the first things that happens after he gets into the race is people in his own administration, and we're talking, relatively high-level people here, soliciting donations from lobbyists who have business before the government, and at a time when Florida's budget is not yet resolved. And what does that mean? It means that Ron DeSantis has not yet figured out which projects he's going to line out and veto. Our colleague Matt Dixon talked to a bunch of lobbyists in Florida yesterday who were, horrified by this, and also not just the sort of question of the ethics of it, but also, for their own interests, worried about whether or not they gave enough.
Some observers certainly would point out that DeSantis has used his office for political purposes quite a bit in the last couple of years. That's sort of his whole ethos. So we'll see where this goes. But let's talk about the week in DeSantis, John. It's well covered that was the Twitter Spaces. The other thing was pretty glitchy. Bad news. The good news, though, that $8 million fundraising haul. That's a huge number. Frankly, better than Trump's been doing. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it's a big one-day number. It's bigger than the first 6 weeks of the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the bar of expectation for Ron DeSantis was so high because for the first, basically 5 months of this year, people expected him to get in. They talked about the juggernaut that he was going to be on the fundraising level. And what we've seen so far is there's going to be a lot of focus on the super PAC, which is saying that it's going to have a budget of about $200 million, obviously far more than the $8.2 million raised for the campaign proper. I think if you look at the DeSantis week so far, if he comes back and wins, it's from a very low point on that launch. At the same time, I think, if he loses, people will look back at this first week and say, not that he lost because of it, but that it was somewhat indicative of other problems around him, not foreseeing the potential problems of a Twitter launch and things like that.
The field may grow further in the days ahead. Mike Pence rumored to be jumping in. Doug Burgum, the governor of North Dakota, thinking of jumping in. We also are still waiting to hear from Chris Christie and Chris Sununu, governor of New Hampshire. One more for you, John. Give us the latest as how Democrats are feeling about where President Biden and his poll numbers stand as this race really starts to begin in earnest.
Yeah, they don't love where Joe Biden stands right now, but many of them feel confident that he will defeat Donald Trump again. And right now, with Donald Trump polling at over 50% in the Republican primary in virtually every national poll, they expect that that's who Biden will face off against. So they feel comfortable with that matchup, even if they don't Love the matchup. Of course, Biden's still in polls of Democrats. Most of them seem to prefer that there was somebody else on the horizon, but there obviously is no one else on the horizon that they're ready to vote for over him.
There is no one else on the horizon, that is for sure. And also, Donald Trump's path may indeed be complicated if further indictments are coming potentially soon. NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen, thank you, my friend. Have a good weekend.